Good morning. My name is Cam Scales. My pronouns are she and her, and I am your pulpit host today. On behalf of this congregation, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of Native tribes. Whether you have joined us online or you are here in our sanctuary, we are very happy to have you with us in this sacred time we choose to be together. Our congregation is served by our minister, the Reverend Jamie Simon, who is available for pastoral care or to answer questions about Unitarian Universalism. She may be reached at minister@uuch.org. If you are a newcomer, please sign our guest book in the foyer, back in the back there, to receive our weekly newsletter. Please take a moment to silence your electronic devices, but don't silence yourself or the people around you. The joyful and not so joyful noises of children and adults are always welcome here. If you have a joy, sorrow, or important milestone that you would like shared during our Circle of Candles and included in the pastoral prayer, please write it in one of these white cards found in the hymnal rack in front of you and place it in the offering basket. For community news and events, check our email newsletter, website, and the announcements section in your order of service. This week, please pay close attention to the information about our upcoming service auction, which will be a lot of fun, and it's just right down the road. We need your help to donate items and to also help with the event that night. So pay attention to that. After our service, everyone is welcome to join us in the fellowship hall over here for coffee and snacks. We will now ring the singing bowl to help us enter into the service more deeply. Unless Alexa wants to do it. I'm sorry, Alexis. I'm sorry. Finally, having gathered in a shared quest for truth and meaning and purpose, let's light our chalice with these words by Sarah Ruth Wecoy Davis. We light this chalice with an open heart. We light this chalice with resolve. We light this chalice with tears still fresh on our cheeks. We light this chalice in hope, focused on the tiny flame we nurture. We light this chalice with reverence for this place, for these people, for this time. We light this chalice with all our soul's longing to be who we are, to be who we will become, to be ourselves. We light this chalice in self-love, in giving love, and in holy love. And now, to help center yourself and quiet your mind, we will have our music for centering, followed by our thread song, which is located in your, the page number in your order of service.
Good morning, friends. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville. My name is Reverend Jamie Simon. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I am glad to see you here this morning. Will you take a moment with me to center in, to breathe deeply, to find a stillness here? Suspended between all that was and all that might be, we struggle to find this very moment, to live this very moment. Let us sit together then and savor this time. Let us relish this between time where past meets future, where presence is the only goal. Let us harbor a faith that reminds us that right now, right here, is enough. You, beloveds, are enough. Blessings. Now I invite you to please rise in body or rise in spirit to sing our first hymn. It's number 17 in that gray silver hymnal. Every night and every morn. Let's sing together. Following our first hymn, we sing our doxology in English and in Spanish, symbol of our respect and appreciation for cultures all over our world. And we speak our words of aspiration, and we turn towards each other to say those words as words of promise and community. Let's sing our doxology. This church. May the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. Thank you, sweetheart. please be seated. And now I'd like to invite forward Jess Zelaya, our Director of Religious Education, and any children and youth, or really anyone who'd like to get closer to hear our story this morning. Thanks, Jess.
Good morning. Can y'all hear me good? Okay, yeah. So today's story comes from Buddhist tradition. Once upon a time, on the outskirts of a big city in Japan, there stood an old temple. From a young age, boys who wanted to study Buddhism would come to live in the temple and learn from the master teacher, a Buddhist monk. One day, the Buddhist monk who ran this small temple decided to teach his young students a lesson. He gathered around them and spoke, "Dear students, as you can see, I am growing old and slow. I can no longer provide for the needs of the temple as I once did. I know I have not yet taught you to work for money, and so I can only think of one thing that can keep our school from closing." The students drew close, their eyes wide. "Our nearby city is full of wealthy people with more money in their purses than they could ever need. I want you to go to the city and follow those rich people as they walk through the crowded streets, or when they walk down the deserted alleyways. And when no one is looking, and only when no one is looking, you must steal their purses from them. That way, we will have enough money to keep our school alive." "But, Master," the boys cursed in disbelief, "you have taught us that it is wrong to take anything that does not belong to us." "Yes, indeed I have," the old monk replied, "and it would be wrong to steal it if it were not absolutely necessary. And remember, you must not be seen by anyone. If anyone can see you, you must not steal. Do you understand?" The boys looked nervously from one another. And had their beloved teacher gone mad? With eyes shone with intensity such as they had never seen before. "Yes, Master," they said quietly. "Good," he said. "Now go and remember, you must not be seen." The boys got up and quietly began to file out of the temple building. The old monk rose slowly and watched them go. And when he turned back inside, he saw that one student was still standing quietly in the corner of the room. "Why did you not go with the others?" asked the boy. "Do you not want to help save our temple?" "I do, Master," the boy said quietly. "But you said that we had to steal without being seen. And I know there is no place on earth that I would not be seen, for I would always see myself." "Excellent!" exclaimed the teacher. "This is just the lesson I hoped my students would learn. But you were the only one able to see it. Run and tell your friends to return to the temple before they get us into trouble." The boy ran and got his friends, who were nervously gathered just out of sight of the temple, trying to decide what to do. When they returned, the master told them the words the boy had spoken, and they all understood the lesson. No matter what we do, we always have a part of ourselves that is quietly watching, and no one knows what right and wrong can guide us if we listen. Let us now sing our children out.
are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville, a proudly inclusive spiritual community. Together, we build a broader search for meaning, a bolder form of compassion, and a braver voice for justice. At this time, we invite you to support our mission with a monetary contribution. You may donate online using the QR code in your order of service, or you may put cash or check donations in the offering baskets. Completed Circle of Candles cards, these white cards, should now also be placed in the offering baskets at this time. You're invited also to come forward during this time and quietly drop a stone in the bowl of water here next to the ramp in honor or in memory of what you hold in your heart. With gratitude, we now receive the offering.
Friends, will you now join me in a time of meditation, reflection, and prayer? Great Spirit of life, God of love, mystery known by many names, be with us in this time as we share the joys and sorrows held in our community. Since the spring of this year, on the last Sunday of the month, it's become our practice to light a candle of joy to honor our fellow Unitarian Universalist churches in our southern region. So today we joyfully light a candle for our friends at the UU congregation of Oxford, Mississippi. We send them our positive thoughts and are grateful for their voice of progressive, loving, inclusive community in our southern region. We wish them well in their ministry. This morning, Jerry lifts up in joy an exciting upcoming visit to her daughter and son and grandkids in Phoenix, Arizona. We wish you well on your trip, and we hold you in sorrow as you share with us several illnesses and deaths in your inner circle. We hold you in this sorrow too. We hold Teresa this morning as she lifts up her oldest sister, Romy, who's being treated for a leaky mitral and tricuspid valve with advanced heart failure. In this time of challenge, we hold you in our heart and we send you healing prayers, Romy. And this morning, I'd like us to lift up in our hearts all those who are filled with concern and worry as we approach a time without SNAP benefits. May we be inspired to redouble our efforts to feed our neighbors and share what we have. May we speak love and care to those who are struggling to make ends meet, and may we work to restore this vital support to our communities. In places of joy, we send our love and celebration. For these places of sorrow, we send our care and hold this pain in community. And may all these joys and sorrows, both spoken aloud and silent in our hearts, be felt and heard and shared this day. And let us say, blessed be and amen, and sing in response hymn number 1009 in that teal hymnal, Meditation on Breathing. We'll sing it 3 times. The reading I have to share with you this morning is an excerpt from the book Real Love by author Sharon Salzberg. Sharon is a Buddhist practitioner, therapist, and author, and she's been one of my favorites since we started reading her in divinity school. Here are her words. I have never believed that you must completely love yourself before you can love another. I know many people who are hard on themselves, yet they love their friends and family deeply and are loved in return, though they may have difficulty receiving that love. But it is hard to sustain love for others over the long haul until we have a sense of inner abundance and sufficiency. When we experience the opposite, inner impoverishment for love for another too easily becomes hunger. Hunger for reassurance, for acclaim, for affirmation of our worth. Feeling incomplete inside ourselves, we search for others to complete us. But friends, the equation doesn't work that way. We can't gain from others what we're unable to give ourselves. It's important to recognize that self-love is an unfolding process that gains strength over time, not a goal with a fixed endpoint. When we start to pay attention, we see that we're challenged daily to act lovingly on our own behalf. Simple gestures of respect, care of the body, rest for the mind, beauty for the soul are all ways of showing ourselves love. Really, all of our actions can signify self-love or self-sabotage. So can the way we react when a stranger cuts us off in line, or a friend does something hurtful, or we get an unwelcome diagnosis. As Maya Angelou said in her book, Letter to My Daughter, you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Sharon reflects that she started meditation practice, as many do, with the need to turn around that tendency to feel reduced by life. Still, it takes a special courage to challenge the rigid confines of our accustomed story. It's not easy to radically alter our views about where happiness comes from or what brings us joy, but it's possible. We truly can reconfigure how we see ourselves and reclaim the love for ourselves that we are innately capable of. Real love, she says, allows for failure and suffering. All of us have made real mistakes. Some of those mistakes are consequential, but you can find a way to relate to them with kindness. No matter what troubles have befallen you or what difficulties you have caused yourself or others, with love for yourself, you can change, grow, make amends, learn. Real love is not about letting yourself off the hook. Real love doesn't encourage you to ignore your problems or deny your mistakes. You see them clearly, and still, you opt to love. May we be all inspired to opt towards love. Now I'd like to invite forward our fabulous UUCH choir to offer us our anthem this morning, If I Can Stop One Heart from Breaking. Beloveds, all month we have been cultivating compassion together. We've thought about how our Universalist ancestors taught us to live lives of generosity and service. From this lesson, we've been inspired and re-inspired to show compassion to people and experiences beyond our walls, beyond our knowing. Our guest minister, Reverend Michelle, counseled us wisely about the challenges inherent in compassion. Our animal companions, often our wisest teachers, have called us to a broad view of compassion that motivates us to care for all of nature and all of our beautiful interdependent web. And today, as we close this chapter of cultivating compassion, I want each of us to take a moment and look inward, to send compassion to ourselves. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain, even if that one heart is my own. How true it is that often the person we have the hardest time finding compassion for is ourselves. It's common to struggle with self-love, to mistake it for selfishness, even when it couldn't be further from it. And so my hope for us in this time and space is that we might find the courage and the call to offer ourselves deep, unwavering compassion in this time, in this moment. As Unitarian Universalists, as we explore this, how to have compassion for ourselves, there's no better place to start than in the wisdom of the Buddhist tradition that is so deeply connected to the idea of self-compassion. And so, friends, I want to start by telling you about the Buddha and the Buddha story. So here we go. The Buddha was born with the name Siddhartha Gautama about 2,700 years ago in the land we now call Nepal. And like many notable religious figures, he had an unexpected birth story. One day, his mother Maya had a dream that the gods had carried her up to the temple to bathe her. And in the dream, a white elephant with 6 tusks came close to her. And after this dream, she woke up and found out that she was expecting a baby. And 10 months later, she gave birth to this baby, Siddhartha, all by herself, standing underneath a sacred tree and holding onto a branch. And so the story goes, at his birth, baby Siddhartha got up and started walking, took 7 steps, and then spoke, declaring that he was supreme in the world and would have no more reincarnations. And I'm hopeful that after that, he returned to sleeping and snuggling and doing normal baby activities. There was a wise teacher nearby, and he heard this miraculous birth story. He heard about this baby and his 7 steps and his pronouncement to the world. And so this teacher told Siddhartha's parents that either baby Siddhartha would become the most powerful king, or he would become a great awakened teacher. I'm going to give you one guess what Siddhartha's dad, the current king, was hoping for. In fact, he wanted so desperately for his son to be the next king and choose to rule, that he prevented Siddhartha from ever seeing or experiencing any kind of suffering. And so the spoiling of the Buddha began. Growing up, Siddhartha wanted for nothing, and he was given all manner of riches and spoils to enjoy. He had the cleanest water, the best food, which 2,700 years ago would have meant a lot. He had the company of beautiful women who were financially motivated to spend time with him, and ample free time to relax and enjoy the beauty and safety of the palace. But as any of you who are parents know, even with our best intentions, it's not possible to protect our children from suffering. Suffering, it seems, is a natural part of life. They got him 29 years, though, so that's pretty good on their part. So at 29 years old, Siddhartha, for the first time, encounters suffering in ways he could not fathom. He left the palace. He met some people And he learned that regular people experience poverty, that they get ill, they get old, some of them live lives with disabilities, they want things that they can't have, they experience disappointment, and eventually they die. He couldn't hardly believe it. Once he was exposed to the reality of suffering, it was like a light switch turned on. And from that, he could not stomach returning to the privileges of the palace. He left his parents, he left his wife and baby son, his place of privilege, and spent the next 6 years in meditation, in learning, and living about as severe and austere and ascetic life a person could. He got skinnier and skinnier and skinnier from fasting. I was like, what's the word for starving yourself, but for religion? Fasting. And so after 6 years of this profound denial, he realized that, having everything wasn't the answer, and having nothing wasn't the answer either. He sat down beneath the Bodhi tree, he meditated, and eventually entered enlightenment. He realized the Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, its cause, its cessation, and the middle way of leading to its end. He found a state of peacefulness and insight. And from there, he went on to have his life and teachings as the Buddha. He created this community of followers, and eventually that turned into modern-day Buddhism and Buddhist practice as we know it today. What a story. Can you imagine what it must have felt like to be Siddhartha? Can you imagine moving along through life only knowing what you know and what the people around you want to share with you, and then suddenly a door swings open or a window and everything you thought you knew about the world, about human beings, about truth, was turned upside down? Can you imagine being confronted by people and places that change your mind and your way of thinking so profoundly that you have to stop what you're doing and choose a completely new path? In many ways, the story of the Buddha is a deeply human story, maybe minus the talking and walking at birth. I believe that for all of us, though, in big and small ways, we have this experience. We are confronted by new truths that shake up our world all the time. You've had moments like this, right? Moments that come and change everything. When the longtime friendship decides to end, when the termination notice slides across your desk, when the election doesn't go your way, when the doctor shares the hard diagnosis, or when you finally decide to leave the toxic relationship, when you move to the dream city even though it's scary, when you get sober, or you go back to school, or you make the change that you need. These are the moments that change everything. You know this. Something happens, and now there is a clear before and after, and it's these moments of change that challenge our ability to be compassionate to ourselves. Good news or bad, we react, we resent, we remove ourselves from who we were before. And I think it's rare that we remember to point ourselves back towards compassion when these things happen. I want to share some wisdom from beloved spoken word poet Andrea Gibson, who passed away too young a few months back from cancer. Andrea knew about these kinds of moments in their life. They wrote this: "The more we change, the more we must commit to loving the people we were before we changed." The most transformative moment in my journey these past years was realizing that new me wasn't extending love to old me. This realization hit me in the middle of the night. I woke up and saw that I didn't just dislike old me, I was terrified of old me. I feared returning to being the anxious, blaming, defensive, closed off person I was before. And that night I began to understand something powerful. In rejecting who I had been, in pushing that person away, I was caught in a resistance that would do nothing but recreate the patterns of old me. The harder I tried to sever ties with the person I had been, the more I found myself embodying that self. It was only when I began to offer old me compassion, kindness, and love did a more permeating sense of freedom begin to emerge. When we hate ourselves, we suck all of the air and the light out of the room of our being. And nothing, my friends, can grow without air and light. Nothing, it seems, can grow without those two. I know I'm no stranger to the enticements of that self-hatred, that disregard for who we have been. It's easy. We live in a world that profits on us not loving ourselves and not loving parts of our story. It's easy to struggle with that self-hatred, so big that the air and light leaves and we cannot grow. But I want us to try and be stronger than that. I know that we're stronger than that. Imagine instead if, instead of going on a journey of self-discovery and searching for wisdom, imagine if our friend Siddhartha had said, well, yikes, seems like the world outside this palace is bad. I'm just going to stay here and have people feed me grapes. That seems better. Or imagine if he had said, upon realizing the suffering in the world, imagine if he had said, I hate my old self so much for my privilege and my ignorance. I'll just meditate and fast and meditate and fast until I wither away into nothing, forever punishing myself. Imagine if you or I, when confronted with one of those life-altering moments, instead of rising to the occasion and finding a new path forward, we simply threw our hands up and said, I'm done. I'm going to hide my head in the sand. Imagine if instead of growing into the more healed versions of ourselves, we just looked in the mirror and shamed ourselves for what we've come from and looked away in disgust. That's not the path we want to choose, friends. Life is hard, but it is made easier when we choose not to be our own enemy. It's not always easy to hold compassion for ourselves as we are now, today, or who we've been on our trajectory to come to this moment. It's not always easy, and yet self-compassion is the path to the kind of human enlightenment that we might do well to find. Beloveds, hold on to this truth. You are loved now exactly as you are. You're loved for the person you were on your worst day, on your hardest day, on your first day and your last day. You're loved for the person you're becoming, and love is with you all along the way. Sharon Salzberg reminds us that real love allows for failure and suffering, for the truth that we've made mistakes, that we've fallen short. No matter what troubles have befallen you, what difficulties you've caused yourself or others, with love for yourself, you can change. You can grow, you can make amends, and you can learn to move forward. Beloveds, may we learn to be a little bit like the Buddha. May we see suffering and may it change us for the better. May we remember that there is a balance in this life and that we are always moving forward. May we show exquisite love to this world around us. And may we remember that we're worth having compassion for. Let us hold compassion for ourselves. Blessed be, and amen. And as we close, I'm going to invite us into a practice of singing our final hymn. It's number 1031 in the Teal hymnal. This isn't the typical closing hymn that we normally do. Lori knows I like to go out with a bang, but this one is a little bit more meditative. In this hymn, we start by singing to ourselves, "May I be filled with loving kindness." This is the Buddhist metta prayer. And then we sing to each other, "May you be filled with loving kindness." And then we sing out to the world, "May all be filled with loving kindness." May this be our prayer today, tomorrow, and always. Let's rise and sing number 1031.
Let us now take a moment to extinguish our chalice with these words adapted from a reading by Julianne Lapp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. As we extinguish our chalice today, may the memory of its light remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and the welcoming of multiple truths.
Friends, our worship service now comes to a close. Thank you for being with us this morning. I will be at the back of the sanctuary to greet you, and everyone is invited to stick around for coffee and conversation in our fellowship hall after the service. With these words by Michelle Collins, we remember, go forth, knowing you are beloved and called to love others boldly. May the compassion you've cultivated here expand beyond your own heart, beyond these four walls, embracing strangers and neighbors alike. May we meet differences with the same warmth we offer our dearest friends, and may we all be more whole. Amen. Blessed be, and let's go out singing our rite of community, Be Thou With Us. Amen. Blessed be. Go in peace.